Amidst the frenzy of the late 19th century American gold rush, two conmen took on the roles of explorers, boasting of a sack full of diamonds that dazzled the upper echelons with tales of diamond fields. In the summer of 1871, two adventurers, clad in dusty clothes and with grimy faces, appeared at the California Bank in San Francisco with a sack made of canvas. They sought to deposit it in the bank's vault, identifying themselves as Philip Arnold and John Slack, cousins who claimed to be geological surveyors. Refusing to disclose the contents of the bag, they only insisted on renting the bank's highest security safe to keep it safe. Naturally, the more they refused to open it, the more curious the bank officials became. Eventually, the bank president, William Chapman Ralston, was summoned. Only after he and other bank executives pleaded did Arnold and Slack agree to open the sack, but insisted that everyone keep mum about what they saw. The two men emptied the bag, revealing a pile of diamonds, rubies, emeralds, and sapphires. Arnold claimed that the uncut gems were part of the treasure they found on their expedition. They were lying scattered on the ground, requiring no laborious digging or machinery. And then he said no more. The bank president, William Ralston, known for his strictness, carefully stated that the gems needed to be appraised. He took these red and blue stones to the top jewelers in San Francisco, who immediately declared them genuine. Though cautious, William Ralston treated the two men amicably and gathered the most influential men in the American West to discuss matters with the adventurers. Arnold and Slack revealed that just a few days of digging yielded about 30 kilograms of various gems, and the contents of the sack were only a fraction of it. They needed financing to scale up their mining operation but would provide no further information until their interests were secured. Ultimately, under pressure from San Francisco's upper class, Arnold and Slack reluctantly agreed to lead to the diamond and ruby mine. However, they insisted that only two individuals, chosen by President William Ralston himself, would be allowed to accompany them, blindfolded, for the journey. Additionally, they demanded the wealthy gentleman offer $100,000 in cash as a gesture of goodwill. All three requests were met. The two wealthy gentlemen representatives boarded a Union Pacific train and left San Francisco. The location of the diamond fields was never precisely determined. All they knew was that upon arrival at the station, they met Arnold and were led on horseback for 4 days into the wilderness. They were blindfolded for the final stretch of the journey. Finally, around 4 p.m. on June 4, 1872, they halted. The blindfolds were removed. One of the two gentlemen who went on the expedition into the wilderness later reported finding some pearls, formed within oysters, among the many stones they picked and dug up at the fields. The two men returned to San Francisco, incredibly excited about what they had seen and eager to join the mining of this diamond field. Reuniting, the San Francisco magnate group proposed forming a company, with half the shares belonging to Arnold and Slack and the rest sold to investors, primarily themselves. At this point, secrecy was no longer necessary, and some of the diamonds were displayed in the window of a jewelry store in San Francisco, initially to generate public interest in the stock offering and to fuel the growing diamond fever in the West. Excitement, tinged with some skepticism, spread throughout the area. More and more wealthy investors wanted to be part of this investment venture. To dispel the doubts of hesitant investors, the San Francisco magnate group sent Arnold's diamonds to Tiffany & Company in New York City. Tiffany & Company declared the diamonds genuine, valued at $150,000. Charles Tiffany, the company's founder, was allowed to join the group of investors. Two other prominent figures also decided to hop on this bandwagon: 1864 presidential candidate George McClellan and U.S. Army Major General Benjamin Butler. Tiffany & Company's reputable authentication erased any lingering doubts about the diamond fields deal. The investor group formed the San Francisco and New York Trading and Mining Company, with a capital of $10 million. They hired a renowned mining engineer, Henry Janin, to conduct a survey. Janin spent time at the site and reported that 25 laborers could wash out diamonds worth $1 million in a month. News of Janin's report spread, and gold prospectors flocked to the remote western regions, firmly believing their fortune lay scattered, awaiting collection. At least 25 other companies with a total capitalization of $200 million. The diamond search fever in the American West surged, especially in Arizona, New Mexico, Utah, Wyoming, and Colorado. In a short time, it began to resemble another gold rush in California. Meanwhile, investors in San Francisco and New York abandoned plans to publicly offer stocks. They agreed they would be the sole shareholders. They also pressured Arnold and Slack to sell their interests in the enterprise, ultimately paying the two men up to $660,000. The investors were now the sole owners of this diamond field and its diamonds. Jubilant excitement pervaded the atmosphere. Then, in the autumn of 1872, the diamond dream shattered. Clarence King, a Yale-educated engineer and geologist working for the U.S. government, pieced together information from San Francisco and could pinpoint the mentioned diamond fields. King was familiar with the area and its geology and didn't believe there was anything to dig for. He decided to send a telegram to the investor group. King's message stated he believed the discovery of diamonds was a hoax and he could prove it. Some officials from the investment company met King at the diamond fields. He pointed out several diamonds lying on the ground, clearly cut and polished, not rough diamonds as Arnold had touted. Additionally, he led them to drilled holes in the ground where diamonds were pre-placed. The gems were intentionally scattered, Clarence King concluded. The diamonds that the investor group picked up here were returned to San Francisco and evaluated. They were of very low value, unlike those in the sack Arnold presented to the bank. Further investigation revealed that Arnold and Slack had spent about $50,000 to buy many diamonds from South Africa as tools for the scam. The entire scheme had been meticulously planned and executed. Meanwhile, Arnold and Slack vanished. At that time, the San Francisco Chronicle described the incident as the most colossal and shameless swindle of the age. Philip Arnold and John Slack were never found. Arnold, 49, the mastermind behind the scheme, had apprenticed with a famous gold miner. He had worked for 20 years in various mining-related fields. The bank president, William Ralston, hung one of the stock certificates of the Diamond Field Mining Company, now worthless, in his office as a reminder of his own folly. But in the years following the diamond fraud, he invested excessively of his and the bank's money into other disastrous mining schemes. On August 16, 1875, his Bank of California was forced to temporarily close. The next day, the bank directors demanded Ralston's resignation as president. He submitted his resignation and left the company to go swimming in San Francisco Bay, as was his habit. He was later found dead from drowning. Whether this was suicide or a cruel accident, it was still a shock to America at the time.
We hope you found the video informative and intriguing. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more updates on this case and other fascinating stories. Your support helps us continue our investigations and bring closure to these mysteries. Thank you for watching.